Something like a janitor? The manager is me. I'll dismiss everybody who disobeys me. Nathan, wearing a pricey suit, laughed aloud as he put a filthy rag on my head. Then he instantly cast icy gazes down at me. Please bring Mr. Nelson here right now. The atmosphere in the office was instantly changed by my soothing words. A security guard also showed up, and Mayan came up holding some papers. The moment had come for Nathan's reign to end, and all the proof had been collected. It was going to be made public. It was time to take action as a hands-on leader and safeguard the company's future. I'm Stephen Owens, and I'm 41 years old. As usual, I began cleaning this morning at 6 o'clock before the sun had even risen. I meticulously cleaned the restrooms, swept the floors, and wiped off desks. This is how I spend my days. You're here early, Tyler. Oh, Stephen, I wanted to arrange some paperwork and come in early. Tyler, a recent hire, was at his desk going over a business proposal when I called out to him. Tyler only started working there in April. He works hard and is serious. I frequently observe him showing up for work even on his days off under Nathan's careful supervision. Tyler gave me a questioning glance as I took up a management magazine and began reading stories on statistics and business analysis. Do you read management books, Stephen? Yes, I must stay informed about the company's developments. At that moment, I felt a presence coming. Good morning, Stephen. The president's secretary, Megan, was grinning softly when I turned around. We've been acquainted for roughly 3 months. Once more, you arrive early. You are a huge assistance to us. It's not noteworthy, simply carrying out my duties. Every 3 months, I switch shifts as a janitor. In the corporate group I'm looking into, this is the 53rd company. I keep my role as chairman a secret so that I can hear straight from the field. I noticed Nathan was already there when I looked over at his desk. Nathan is constantly busy sorting documents when he arrives, which is around 7:30 a.m. He struggled with a mountain of receipts today as well. The regular guard met me on my way to the security room. I appreciate all of your hard work. You're as early as usual. Yes, this place is a pleasant vibe. The staff members are decent individuals. Yes, but I'm concerned because there's been a lot more overtime lately. Yeah, I said and walked out of the security room. More workers started to show up as the office began to receive sunshine. Maiden was making coffee elegantly while Tyler was absorbed in his paperwork. I silently watched the business's operations while I stored my cleaning supplies. I could hear Nathan quickly getting rid of papers, and I could hear the shredder. I chose to remain cautious for the time being despite his worrying conduct. Over the previous 3 months, I had seen Nathan's strange conduct, but it was not time to take action. I finished cleaning the restrooms after wiping off the desks. The polished floor glinted in the morning sun that streamed through the windows. The start of a new day was imminent. Shouts came from a meeting room at 9 in the morning. Tyler was being severely reprimanded by Nathan. How many times must I tell you this? This proposal is pointless. With a pale face and shaking hands, Tyler emerged with his documents as the door opened. I walked up to him in silence after clearing the desk. How about a cup of tea, Tyler? Tyler shook his hands and took the tea in the break room. Notable red scrolls were used to mark up the proposal that was set on the desk. Nathan most likely wrote it. Tyler started talking in a tiny voice. Stephen, how bad is my proposal? Give me a chance to look. As I read it, I saw his adaptable style and sound data analysis, which are hallmarks of a budding star. Nathan's critiques were incorrect. Nathan told me to come up with improvements by the end of the month, but I have no idea how to fix it. I think the market analysis here is good. Maybe just add a few more specific figures. Just then, Nathan walked into the break room. He glanced at us briefly, then shot a sharp look at Tyler. Still wasting time here? Hurry up and fix it. Startled, Tyler quickly gathered his documents and returned to his desk. Nathan turned to me, looking down coldly. A janitor has no business sticking his nose in. Just focus on your work. He said that coldly, then bought a coffee from the vending machine and left. By early afternoon, Tyler was still at his desk, immersed in revising his proposal without even taking lunch. Next to him, Nathan was enjoying an expensive-looking lunch while chatting with his subordinates. Peeking into Nathan's drawer, I noticed a pile of receipts. Megan quietly placed a rice ball on Tyler's desk. Tyler smiled gratefully at her thoughtful gesture. At 3 p.m., yelling erupted from the meeting room again. This time, a new employee had become Nathan's target. Then another employee was called in, and the harsh reprimands continued. Nathan's behavior has been strange lately. He's particularly harsh on the younger employees. Yeah, do you know why overtime has shot up since last month, and there's been a lot of shredding? I see. Thanks for letting me know. After thanking the security guard, I returned to my work. As 5 p.m. approached, the office started to grow dim. Tyler was still at his desk, wrestling with a proposal. Nathan seemed to have left for the day. Tyler, it's already past quitting time. Did you file your overtime request? No, it's hard to bring it up with Nathan. I noticed Megan heading to the president's office, seemingly to make a report. As I passed by Tyler's desk, I noticed he was staring at the screen with a tired expression. There was no stamp on his time card. When collecting the end-of-month trash, I realized that the amount of shredded paper was unusually large. Carefully gathering it, I noticed traces of shredded receipts. I took out my phone and quietly started recording Nathan's behavior, the unnatural handling of receipts, and the excessive reprimanding of young employees. Everything must be connected. The next morning, Tyler arrived with dark circles under his eyes. On his desk lay the proposal. He had stayed up all night revising. Nathan walked into the office with proud look, wearing a new tie. He slammed Tyler's revised proposal onto the desk. In the quiet, early morning office, his angry voice echoed. How is this supposed to be an improved proposal? Your data analysis is sloppy and the market research is shallow. Do you really think this is good enough? Tyler, may I see that proposal? What? Now a janitor meddling again. Just stick to cleaning. Excuse me, but this data analysis is accurate. In fact, it's an excellent proposal that leverages the company's strengths. I picked up the proposal and pointed out the key elements. The method of calculating market size, comparative analysis with competitors, and the feasibility check, all was on point, especially this part. The method for acquiring new customers is realistic, and the first-year sales forecast uses conservative figures, making it highly achievable. What would a janitor know? Nathan sneered. The basics of business analysis are not just about theoretical numbers. It's about reflecting the voices from the field. Tyler's proposal clearly embodies that perspective. I took out a business magazine and presented the latest market data. Nathan's expression stiffened slightly. According to this industry magazine, Tyler's market forecast is highly accurate. Actually, what concerns me more is your company's accounting practices. What are you talking about? Megan, who was on her way to the president's office, paused and listened to our conversation. Since last month, overtime has spiked and has been an unusual increase in expenses, particularly entertainment costs. Tyler looked at me in surprise. The security guard was also watching from a distance. You wouldn't know a thing about running a company. Don't bother coming in tomorrow. You're fired. Is that so? Then let's take a closer look at the expense details. I took out my phone and played back the recorded conversations. The evidence revealed Nathan's abusive remarks toward younger employees, forced unpaid overtime, and hints of inflated expenses. I turned to Tyler. Tyler, have you been properly submitting your overtime requests? No, it's hard to bring it up with Nathan. This needs to be reported to Mr. Nelson. Hearing our conversation, Nathan's attitude suddenly changed. No, it's a misunderstanding. I was only doing it for the company. For the company, really? I checked his desk and noticed the shredded documents. Everything had been verified. Megan had already reported the situation to the president, and it was only a matter of time before Mr. Nelson summoned him. Tyler, your proposal is more than adequate. In fact, it's exactly what the company needs. I hope it gets implemented. Stephen, thank you. Nathan tried to leave the office, but at the entrance, he ran into the security guard. Nathan, I've been hearing the shredder a lot lately. I pressed on as Nathan hesitated. I also confirmed with the accounting department. There seemed to be some unusually large transactions. Then Megan delivered the final blow. Mr. Nelson wants to see you, Nathan. From that day on, Nathan's oppressive behavior gradually diminished. Tyler's proposal was officially approved, and a project team was formed. Among the younger employees, morale began to rise. After finishing my morning cleaning, I was drinking tea in the security room as usual. Outside the window, a breeze signaled the arrival of a new season. I resumed my cleaning, and when I glanced at the clock, it was already 10 a.m. Stephen, how about taking a break? The aroma of the coffee Megan had brewed filled the air. The morning sunlight streaming through the office window softly illuminated her profile. Stephen, thank you for helping with Tyler's proposal. It was just the right thing to do. But it's strange, isn't it? A janitor who knows so much about business. There was a curious glint in Megan's eyes as she smiled. Maybe she already knew who I really was. Megan, when did you realize it? From the first time we met. The way you wiped Mr. Nelson's desk was exactly like how Mr. Owens used to do it. I never thought she'd notice from the very beginning, since it was still work hours. I thanked her for the coffee and went back to my tasks. During lunch break, Megan offered me a homemade lunch. We sat by the window in the break room, just the two of us. Actually, I knew of Mr. Owens since my student days. I often interviewed you as a junior member of the journalism club. Oh, I remember. I was quite a bold student back then. Not at all. You already showed signs of being a great leader, especially your dedication to the field. As I took a bite of the omelet, it tasted just like my mother's cooking. Megan's kindness was evident in every dish. Outside, the cherry blossoms were dancing in the wind, signaling the arrival of a new season. Sharing lunch with Megan became a routine, and our conversations gradually shifted from work to personal topics. Stephen, how about going to see the cherry blossoms this weekend? Well, but as a janitor, it might be a bit awkward to go out with the president's secretary. Just talk to me normally. Let's go together. The blossoms should be in full bloom by the weekend. To hide my blushing, I nodded repeatedly. On the day of the cherry blossom viewing, Megan appeared in a light pink dress. Under the full bloom, we enjoyed a peaceful time together. Stephen, why did you choose to work as a janitor? I'd wanted to hear the voices from the field directly. Numbers alone don't reveal the real situation. I'd admire that mindset, Megan. Thank you. Her confession, carried by the spring breeze, sounded as gentle as the falling petals. One afternoon, we visited an art museum. Maiden paused in front of a painting, passionately explaining its story. Her enthusiasm reminded me of her journalism days. One evening, Megan brought important documents from the president's office. They contained new evidence of Nathan's misconduct. I want to protect this company just like you do. Your strength always helps me. I took the documents from her. As night fell, Megan remained at her desk, still working. I made her a warm cup of coffee to keep her going. Thanks to Megan's support, we managed to put an end to Nathan's reckless actions. She supports the company from behind the scenes, and she also supports me. On the weekend, we visited a seaside restaurant together. As the sun slowly sank below the horizon, Megan spoke with a calm expression. Stephen, at some point, we'll have to make our relationship public. Yeah, once everything is settled, I'll make it official. Little by little, we grew closer, and our relationship naturally began. The warm breeze wrapped around us, and the sound of waves quietly echoed. It felt as if the future itself was giving us its blessing. On Monday morning, an unusual tension filled the office. Nathan had urgently summoned Tyler's project team. The new project that had been progressing smoothly until last week had suddenly come to a halt. What's this number? The budget has almost doubled. Who's responsible? I'm sorry, but this increase is necessary as an initial investment. Shut up. Do you think that kind of excuse will work? Nathan slammed the proposal onto the office table. As the young employees shrank back, I quietly observed the situation while wiping the desks. So, should I cut your salaries to make up for it? No one gets overtime pay this month. Megan entered the office. She tried to deliver a message from Mr. Nelson, but Nathan wouldn't listen. I'm busy right now. Come back later. Megan left the office with a troubled expression. She seemed to have discovered something important. During lunch break, while I was chatting with the security guard, Tyler rushed in with a pale face. "Stephen, something terrible happened. The project budget. Calm down. What's going on?" The numbers on the documents that came back from accounting are different from what we submitted. When I checked the accounting documents, I found that the project budget had been inflated and the difference had been recorded as a separate expense. It was clear evidence of accounting fraud. Nathan walked by, wearing a luxurious new suit, a fresh tie, and expensive leather shoes, while cutting employees' overtime pay. He was clearly spending extravagantly on himself. In the afternoon, Nathan's angry voice echoed through the office once again. This time, his target was an employee from the accounting department. Why was this document left unattended? Handle it immediately. But Nathan, this was supposed to just do as I say. Maiden had finished reporting to the president and quietly returned to the office. It was clear that Nathan's misconduct was reaching a point where it couldn't be hidden anymore. That evening, Nathan took a bundle of receipts from his desk and headed toward the shredder room. If this keeps up, the project will be destroyed. You're doing the right thing. It's too early to give up. Late into the night, Megan was meticulously checking the documents left on the desk. Among them were new pieces of evidence confirming Nathan's misconduct. "Mayan, it's already late." "Yes, but I can't overlook this." Saying that, Mayan went back to reviewing the documents. The next morning, Nathan appeared in the office at dawn, hurriedly disposing of documents. He looked like a cornered animal. Tyler's project team, despite being battered by budget cuts, was working hard to revise their plans. Their sincere efforts seemed to be lighting the way for the company's future. Nathan's reckless behavior finally exploded in the worst possible way. During the morning meeting, Nathan abruptly announced the cancellation of Tyler's project. "This project is terminated. The budget waste is unacceptable." "But, Nathan, we've already made commitments to the client." "Shut up. A kid like you shouldn't be squandering the company's money." A merciless slap landed on Tyler's cheek. The office froze as Nathan's verbal abuse continued. "Pack your things immediately. You don't need to come in tomorrow." While the employees held their breath, I stood still, holding my cleaning tools. Then Nathan turned his fury toward me. "You saw that, didn't you? Don't you dare defend this disgrace to the company." Nathan roughly snatched the rag from my hand and threw it at my head without mercy. The cold water from the rag dripped down my face, soaking my collar. "A janitor like you has no right to act so high and mighty." Megan quickly rushed over and handed me a towel, her hands trembling slightly. "Nathan, I will report this to Mr. Nelson." "Shut up." One by one, members of Tyler's project team were called in, facing relentless reprimands from the shredder room. The constant sound of paper being destroyed echoed through the office. "This is too much. Someone needs to put a stop to it." "Yeah, you're right." Shortly after noon, the accounting department raised a new allegation. In addition to budget tampering, it was discovered that a substantial amount of maintenance expenses had been misappropriated. The documents Megan brought contained definitive proof of Nathan's misconduct: lavish spending at luxury clubs, overseas trips, and purchases of high-end brand items. All of it was processed as company expenses. Just as Nathan was about to leave the office, Mr. Nelson appeared. "Nathan, I've always had doubts about your methods." "Mr. Nelson, this is a misunderstanding. I was acting for the company's benefit." "For the company? Destroying young talent and misusing company funds? Is that really for the company?" Cornered, Nathan snapped. He grabbed the documents from the desk and threw them at Tyler. "It's all your fault. You're denying my achievements." That was the moment I slowly stood up and spoke coldly. "Bring Mr. Nelson here immediately." "The janitor thinks he can give orders?" I threw the rag onto the floor and faced Nathan's madness head-on. Tyler, pale and stunned, stood motionless while the surrounding employees held their breath, watching. A heavy tension filled the office. This was a final trigger, and everything was about to change drastically. Nathan's reign was finally reaching its end. Sunlight from the window illuminated Nathan's figure, dressed in his expensive suit. His desk was scattered with traces of his earlier reckless behavior. Scattered documents, a fallen pen holder, and the rag he had thrown at me earlier all testified to his arrogance. The atmosphere in the office instantly froze. Everyone present seemed to sense what was about to happen, holding their breath. The employee's eyes moved back and forth between Nathan and me. I stepped forward, stood in front of Nathan, and slowly pulled my ID card from my chest pocket. Under the fluorescent light, the clearly printed words became visible. I am Stephen, the chairman of the group. The color drained from Nathan's face. His throat, wrapped in a high-end designer tie, made a dry, rasping sound. What are you talking about? You're just a janitor. At that moment, Mayan stepped forward. She held a thick envelope in her hand. Inside were the countless pieces of evidence gathered during the 3-month investigation, finally about to come to light. These are the record of the past 3 months. Expense reports, excessive entertainment expenses, fake receipts, and unpaid overtime. All the evidence is here. Heavy footsteps approached. It was Mr. Nelson. His usual calm demeanor was gone, replaced by a stern gaze directed at Nathan. Mr. Owens, thank you for your hard work. I deeply apologize for not seeing the truth sooner. Mr. Nelson bowed deeply. Nathan desperately tried to find a way out of the situation. The sound of his expensive leather shoes echoed on the floor. Mr. Nelson, this is a setup. The janitor is trying to frame me. All the documents you shredded have been reconstructed. Lavish spending at luxury clubs and purchases of brand-name items. All of it was processed as company expenses. The security guard brought in a heavy cardboard box. Inside were the carefully reassembled shredded documents, revealing Nathan's guilt. The remnants of his nightly evidence destruction were gathered here. I've been hearing the shredder at odd hours every night, especially late at the end of each month. What's even more shocking is that you alter the project budget, pocketing the difference. You crush the efforts of the young employees and claim their achievements as your own. Tyler's hands trembled. The documents he spread out clearly showed the original budget proposal alongside the falsified numbers. The discrepancies were obvious at a glance. This is our original proposal. There was no budget overrun. In fact, we proposed a more efficient operation. Nathan's face grew increasingly pale, and he started backing away. Sweat beaded on his forehead, and his luxury suit wrinkled unnaturally. No, this is a mistake. I did it for the company's growth. The numbers were challenging, but for the company's growth? How does trampling on young employees' efforts and committing fraud benefit the company? You twisted everything to satisfy your own desires. Since you became a manager, you've changed. Where did your honest attitude go? I used to trust you. Mr. Nelson's words made the atmosphere in the office even heavier. Veteran employees who knew the old Nathan had conflicted expressions on their faces. Megan presented another set of documents. It was a detailed audit report from the accounting department. According to this report, the amount of embezzlement over the past 2 years amounts to $800,000. Not only inflated entertainment expenses, but also fictitious orders and personal use of company funds. The methods were extremely elaborate. No, I had my reasons. I worked my way up from a high school graduate, putting everything into this job. Still making excuses? But what's truly unforgivable is how you treated Tyler and his team. You trampled on their potential and crushed their dreams. You sacrificed the company's future leaders for your own self-preservation. All the employees' eyes were fixed on Nathan. Their gazes were a mix of anger, disappointment, and just a hint of pity. You destroyed their growth for your own gain. As a leader, that is the gravest sin. You use your position and reputation solely for yourself. You will cooperate with the police investigation. Of course, we will also take legal action in civil court. You must repay the embezzled amount. With those final words, Nathan's legs gave out, and he collapsed to the floor. There was no trace of dignity left in his figure. His expensive suit was creased. His designer tie was crooked. Sweat from his forehead dripped onto his pricey leather shoes. Tyler, your project is vital to the company's future. We will secure the necessary budget and manpower. Nurturing young talent, not crushing it, is the responsibility of a leader. Tears welled up in Tyler's eyes. The expressions of the younger employees began to brighten little by little. The heavy atmosphere slowly started to lift. Mr. Owens, I deeply apologize. It was my lack of oversight. No, I'm glad I was able to hear the voices from the field firsthand. We will use this experience to drive reform. This company still has plenty of room to grow. Megan quietly stood by my side, her gentle smile softening the tense atmosphere. Nathan's reckless behavior had finally come to an end. The young employee's eyes were beginning to regain their former sparkle. This was the change I had been hoping for. Nathan remained sitting on the floor, his face blank as if he had lost everything. The once glamorous suit and expensive leather shoes now looked like nothing more than pitiful decorations. Stand up. At least try to act like a manager to the very end. Stumbling, Nathan managed to get to his feet. Some of his former colleagues, now middle-aged employees, wore conflicted expressions. They were the ones who had witnessed Nathan's rise and fall up close. Not all of your achievements were in vain. I took out my phone and displayed past sales data. It showed records from the time when Nathan worked tirelessly as a young salesperson. You rose from a high school graduate to become the top salesperson. Your efforts truly contributed to the company. There was a time when your hard work inspired me too, but you lost your way. After becoming a manager, you forgot what you needed to protect. The security guard handed me another file. Inside were photos of former employees, those who had left the company, their spirits broken under Nathan's harsh management. They were all talented people with promising futures. Last year, in particular, the turnover rate among new employees was the highest on record. Nathan's face twisted in realization. It seemed he was finally beginning to understand the impact his actions had on the company. Nathan, we really wanted to learn from you. Those words made Nathan's shoulders tremble. The young employee's eyes no longer showed fear, but rather a hint of pity. A leader's role is not just to generate profit. Nurturing people and building the future of the company. That is the true responsibility. Mr. Nelson pulled out an old photo. It was a group picture taken 20 years ago when Nathan had joined the company as a new employee. In it, Nathan looked fresh and eager, a far cry from his current self. Remember that version of yourself, the one who worked hard to learn and valued his colleagues. Megan presented the final audit report from the accounting department. It revealed the full extent of the fraud, and the total amount was far beyond the initial estimate. The total damage amounts to $1.2 million. All of this has been verified. What have I done? For the first time, a genuine admission slipped from Nathan's lips. His luxurious watch ticked against his trembling wrist. You will repay the full amount and take legal responsibility. That's where your atonement begins. The atmosphere in the office slowly began to shift. The heavy tension started to give way to a sense of new beginnings. However, this is not the end. Everyone looked surprised at my words. Your experience and skills, if misused, can be harmful, but if applied correctly, they can be an asset to the company. I will give you a chance to redeem yourself, Mr. Owens. You will start over from the ground up, handling everything from field work and cleaning to security, delivery, and warehouse operations. You will experience it all. Remember your roots and gain a true sense of management. Nathan dropped to his knees and bowed his head deeply. I'm sorry. Truly, I'm so sorry. Tyler stepped forward and spoke to Nathan. Someday, I hope we can proudly call you manager again. We'll be waiting for that day. Hearing those words, Nathan's shoulders shook violently. Tears fell, soaking his expensive leather shoes. All right, everyone, get back to your stations. One by one, the employees returned to their desks. Megan stood by my side, her gentle smile unwavering. The company had undoubtedly begun to change. 2 weeks had passed since the incident with Nathan, and the company had regained its calm. The sunlight streaming into the morning office felt brighter than before. The expressions of the new employees also looked much more refreshed. Megan remained by my side as usual, working with the same calm demeanor. There was no longer any need to pretend to be a janitor, but her attitude toward me hadn't changed. Megan, I might be home a bit late today. All right, I'll have dinner ready around 7 p.m. Since last week, we had started living together. Our home was on the top floor of a high-rise apartment building. From the windows, we could see the entire cityscape. Every morning, I woke up with the sunrise, and the aroma of Mayan's coffee marked the start of the day. Good morning, Mr. Owens. Good morning, Megan. Tyler greeted us with a cheerful smile. He was now leading the project team, guiding the younger members. Do you have the materials ready for today's meeting? Yes, we all stayed up late to get it done. Another all-nighter? Take care of your health. Blushing slightly at Megan's concern, Tyler gave a shy nod. Her kindness had a positive effect throughout the entire company. During lunch, Megan opened a homemade lunch. We sat by the window in the break room, our usual spot, and enjoyed some time alone. I saw the new proposal. It's a plan for reforming the entire group, right? Yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Megan's feedback was spot on. Her skills in research and analysis, honed since her student days, were as sharp as ever. Stephen, are you not planning to do cleaning anymore? Yes, I'll keep doing it. Listening to voices from the field is essential for a leader. That's just like you, and I think it's wonderful. The innocent, light-hearted atmosphere between us hadn't changed since we started dating. At sunset, Megan and I took a walk in a nearby park. Seasonal flowers were blooming, and a pleasant breeze brushed past us. Stephen, when should we announce our marriage? Yeah, I think it's about time to make it public. As I took her hand, she leaned in happily. The feel of the ring on her finger affirmed the bond between us. Meeting you is the best thing that ever happened to me. I feel the same. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to resolve the situation with Nathan. On the way home, Megan was brimming with excitement as she talked about the wedding. I nodded at her wish for a simple ceremony. When we got back, Maiden rolled up her sleeves and started preparing dinner. Watching her in her apron, I couldn't help but savor the happiness I felt. Tomorrow's a day off. Shall we go somewhere? Sounds good. How about visiting the art museum for the first time in a while? The dinner laid out on the table reminded me of my mother's cooking. Megan seemed to remember all my preferences. Stephen, please always stay true to your hands-on approach. Yeah, I promise. Let's keep making this company better together. By the window, with a view of the city lights, Megan was organizing work documents. Even at home, she was meticulous. Meeting Megan had changed my life dramatically. The weight of being the group chairman hadn't changed, but having her by my side made everything worthwhile. From now on, we would continue to support each other as we walked forward together. Outside the window, the city lights flickered. The two of us, reflected in the glass, seemed to hint at a promising future. The early summer morning sunlight illuminated the company that had been reborn. The light reflecting off the office building's windows was almost dazzling, as if symbolizing the company's future. The office layout had been significantly changed to encourage natural interaction between young and veteran employees. Partially adopting a free address system fostered conversations beyond departmental boundaries. The employees' expressions were softer than before, and the morning greetings were filled with energy. Tyler's project had achieved a 150% increase in quarterly sales and had become a model case for young talent development, even being featured in industry magazines. Other companies were increasingly visiting for insights, and Tyler himself was often invited as a speaker. Today, the new training program starts, right? Yes. It's the first step in spreading the hands-on philosophy across the entire group. Over 100 participants from 20 companies have already signed up. Last month, Megan and I quietly held our wedding ceremony. We avoided any flashy elements, choosing instead a simple celebration that allowed us to genuinely share our joy with the employees. The words of congratulations still resonated in my heart. Looking out the window, I saw employees already cleaning the premises from early in the morning. Among them were managers who once criticized the idea of field work. With a new policy requiring all managers to do field work once a month, the atmosphere in the company had undeniably changed. In the training room, Nathan stood in his work uniform before the new employees. 6 months of hands-on experience had changed him from the inside out. Once obsessed with luxury brands, he now worked confidently in his uniform. He never missed his 5 a.m. shift and led by example with his dedication to cleaning. I made a huge mistake. I lost my position and reputation. But through that, I learned something important. There's essential value in field work. It nurtures people and drives a company's strength. The new employees listen intently, their eyes serious and focused. Gone was the old domineering attitude, and his words now carried the weight of hard-earned experience, captivating the younger employees. I must admit, I'm truly surprised by Nathan's transformation. To think that someone as stubborn as him could change so much. Mr. Nelson spoke with a thoughtful expression. On his desk was a graph showing the group's performance trends. Since the reforms, the numbers had shown a clear upward curve. The turnover rate had hit a record low, and employee satisfaction surveys showed significant improvements. Mr. Owens, the final adjustments for the new plan are complete. The submitted proposal carefully reflected the voices from the field, balancing cost reduction and operational efficiency, while also enhancing employee motivation, was an ideal approach. Well done. You've grown a lot over the past 6 months. Megan continued working as the president's secretary, while also serving as a special advisor to the corporate planning office. Her sharp insights and warm personality had become indispensable to the new company. In decision-making meetings, her advice remained consistently spot on. As I spoke during the morning assembly, the employees listened with earnest expressions, nodding in agreement. The new philosophy of hands-on leadership had firmly taken root. The old authoritarian atmosphere was gone, replaced by an open and dynamic environment where discussions flowed freely. Outside, the early summer breeze swayed the fresh green leaves. Sunlight filtering through the trees cast bright patterns on the office floor. Today, too, Nathan was on the field in his work uniform, diligently going about his tasks. The young employees watched Nathan's back as he worked. From among them, surely new leaders will emerge. All right, a new day is beginning. Hearing those words, the employees' eyes grew even brighter. Our reform has only just begun. From now on, we will continue to listen to the voices from the field and keep growing together. That's the most important lesson I learned from my days working as a janitor. A year has passed since then. Nathan started with field work, and now he works as a warehouse supervisor. He sold all his expensive suits and luxury watches, using the money to repay the amount he had embezzled. Most of his salary goes toward paying off the debt, and he continues to live alone in a modest one-room apartment. However, his expression now has a sense of clarity and purpose. He pours his passion into mentoring his juniors and has earned trust as a leader in the field. Although it will take more than 10 years to fully repay his debts, he doesn't seem to view it as a burden. The group's overall performance continues to rise, and the hands-on management philosophy has taken root deeply in each company. Tyler has become the youngest manager, emerging as a next-generation leader. As for me and Megan, our married life continues to be fulfilling, supporting each other every day. We head to work together in the morning, starting our day with the coffee Maillon brews. Sometimes, we still do cleaning tasks as a pair. It remains an essential part of our routine, unchanged from before. Mr. Nelson has announced his retirement for next year. It has been decided that I will take over as a successor. I will be serving as both group chairman and president, but I plan to stick firmly to the hands-on approach. As the new season arrives, cherry blossoms can be seen from the office windows. The days I spent working as a janitor were invaluable experiences that shaped me as a leader. I will continue to listen to the voices from the field and, together with all the employees, build an even better company. That's the future we're striving for.